Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Energy MD podcast, where we're on a mission to help 1 million people with chronic fatigue, long COVID, mast cell activation syndrome to take their energy to the next level so that they can have more fun and more success in every aspect of their lives. So, a lot of what we talk about, we're talking about mind, body, spirit, emotions, and we're going to be talking about some of that today with our relationships, such an important part of all this. And we're going to be talking about it with my friend Eri. So let's learn a little bit about her. So Eri Kardos is the founder and lead coach of Relearn Love LLC and is the author of the best-selling book Relationship Agreements, a simple and effective guide for strengthening communication, reducing conflict, and increasing intimacy to design your ideal relationship. Eri's specialty is helping people elevate their relationships for deeper, more intimate, and fulfilling connections. Her science and somatic-based methods spark old and new passion, take you to new places of intimacy, and melt away the patterns of conflict. She helps you learn new ways to communicate and connect so that you can create the partnership you dreamed of when you started out together. She is one of the most highly referred relationship coaches globally, working with clients across 6 continents, ranging from top tech executives and Hollywood celebrities to ordinary people living extraordinary lives. She's a former leadership development professional at Amazon.com, and she received her MBA in global leadership from the #1 international business school in the world. She is also the mama of 2 incredible children and shares a conscious relationship with her husband, Jamin Patel, part of their own love story featured in Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Miracle of Love, and their family currently lives in Bali, Indonesia. Eri, thanks so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And so excited that we're going to be talking about relationships, right? Because how much energy, time, resources do we use on our relationships, thinking about our relationships, stressing ourselves out, right? So we're going to be talking about energy and relationships, how to increase energy through decreasing tension in your relationship. So
I love this.
yeah, me too. So why don't we start off by you telling us a little bit about your story? How did you get into the relationship business?
Oh, great question. So I would say my whole life has been about relationships. So I'm the daughter of a lawyer, hospital executive with my father, and my mom's a nurse. And together they love teaching marriage courses in their church.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was around this idea of marriage and relationships are very important since I was little. And then growing up, I followed a unique path of first of all, being like most other people of where am I going? What am I doing? And I joined the military on a dare, and then eventually I'm like, nope, that's not the right life path. and found that I really loved sexual psychology and pursued that for a while. And then somehow it made sense to me to get my MBA in international business. So I did that and ended up pursuing leadership development, worked at Amazon.com. And during the process of being there, it was really fascinating because as trust was established with my leaders, I would discover all these more personal and tender things were happening in their lives. So to ask, hey, can we talk about something that's outside of the office? And they'd heard about my background, and we would just start hearing things around how lonely they were feeling, whether they were single and they were just really busy, or they were in a marriage and they still felt very lonely. There's just a lot of loneliness going on. And so we started working on what is it like to be in a relationship. Maybe we learned all these amazing skills growing up about how to be successful in our careers, but most of us didn't learn great skills around being in relationship. So when we started working on that and learning how you can have healthy connections, I started seeing these huge shifts in how they would show up at work, right? They'd show up with so much more energy, so much more vitality, so much more happiness. And guess what? It had a ripple effect. Entire teams were shifted, entire organizations within the company were shifting. And I was like, this is incredible. If I can have an impact on the ROI through the bedroom and not just the boardroom, this is even cooler. So I decided to leave my job at Amazon, start my own company, and write a best-selling book and begin touring, speaking on this because I think it is so important. And I think this is really where most adults that I see are spending their later years in life. They're like, what are you investing in learning in? It's personal development, especially around communication and trauma and how we connect in our hearts and how we relate with other humans, all the things we didn't get a great education around growing up.
Yeah. So such important work. So let's talk about that tension that you were describing that was happening in the bedroom and not the boardroom. So tension in relationships, how does that zap people's energy?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, think about your own experience, or I invite all the listeners to think about your own experience and what has it been like for you when there's been some amount of conflict, maybe with somebody you love, maybe somebody you're romantically involved with, or the thought of even being in a tense situation. So it can just consume so much of you. You're worried about the future. You're thinking about what happened in the past. You're just not present. You're so focused on everything else. And usually that we find that when our energy is going everywhere else, what happens, we're so low in what's happening for us right now. So I see over and over again, we get stuck in these patterns of internal stories and struggle. And when we're in those stories, we're suffering. We're suffering. And it's so much of the time the stories that are preventing us from moving forward. And we just don't know how to get out of our heads and out of our stories and move into a healthy form of action to bring resolution, to have actually to express what you need, to have boundaries, to resolve the tension that's there. Instead, we just hold it and let it whine and whine and whine, which is sapping us of all of our energy the entire time.
So for our listeners, can you give us an example of what one of those stories kind of looks like?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to stories that we all hold first. So there's this theory that we all have some amount of trauma in our lives. And I'm going to use trauma kind of loosely. I'm going to say trauma is an experience that happened where we just weren't prepared for it. We didn't have the resources. Maybe you were laying in your crib and you were crying. Your mom walked towards you to pick you up, but then the doorbell rang and she turned around to get the door first, and you just saw her walk away from you in your moment of need. And you didn't have the understanding or the tools or the resources to deal with that. So at that moment, it's like, whoa, what just happened? And a part of us then decides, I'm going to protect myself. I never want to feel this way again. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I don't feel this hurt again, which is beautiful. And it's part of our survivor self. And at the same time, it prevents us. We learn all these tools that serve us as children, but then we grow up and they no longer serve us. And it's like, how can we break out of those old patterns and learn practices that a healthy adult self can have, where we can actually lean into saying, okay, I've got these stories that I'm holding that may or may not actually be true. And usually I find that people have like one or two main themes, theme trauma stories in their lives, like core wounds, if you will. So for me, I'll give you just a personal example. My core wound is I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
So if that is the background story playing in my head, then the moment something comes up between my husband and I, doesn't matter what it is, it's probably that I feel like I'm not good enough. And for my husband, one of his big core wound stories is that people don't consider him. He's not important enough to be considered. It's a little bit different. So I'll give you a quick story. It's entertaining because this happened just a couple months ago for us. So a couple months ago, we were getting ready for dinner and he wasn't feeling very well. And I said, oh, I would be happy to go out and grab dinner for us. Now, here in Bali, Indonesia, we have an amazing dish called nasi campur, which is basically like a buffet of all your favorite foods on one plate. And so I'll run out and grab some. Babe, what would you like to eat? And he said, oh, just get me anything. Now, we've done enough work and we've been together for over 8 years. I'm like, we're not playing that game. Because if I know that I might be triggered in thinking that I'm not good enough, and you might be triggered in thinking that I didn't consider you, if I get the wrong things, this doesn't ever end up well for us. So tell me what you want. And I just wrote it down. I texted it to myself. I'm like, okay, here it is. Did I get that? Great. Take off. I get all the food. I'm like checking it. I bring it all back. I'm feeling proud. I just did it's so well, and I'm taking care of my sick husband. It's great. We sit down to eat, and he's all like, thank you so much. We open our packages, and you can just feel the energetic wall go, whoom. He just like shut down and blocked me out, you know? And what happens, what used to happen might be something akin to, I would sink into myself thinking, oh my gosh, I screwed it up. Don't know how I screwed it up, but I screwed it up and I didn't do it well enough. And so I'm starting to spin in my own mental suffering about how we're connecting or not connecting, and just feeling this tension, but not knowing to do with it. And we would spend, gosh knows how long, hours, days in this tailspin. And on his side, something happened and he's pulling back, and you can just feel it. And again, he's probably thinking and spiraling into his thing, which could take him days, hours or days out of our connection. But we learn the tools, right? And instead we lean into what is uncomfortable and we call it out. And I just lovingly said, hey babe, I noticed something just shifted between us. Can you speak into what just happened for you? And everything in me is like, don't say anything, don't mess it up more. but we lean into that discomfort, and he just took a deep breath, and you could see this, the sick, hurt little boy inside of him just be like, I'm sick. I'm like, yes. He's like, I need hot sauce when I'm sick. And I'm like, yes. And you told me you wanted the red hot sauce, and I got you the red hot sauce. He's like, you only got me 1 scoop. I need like 5. you know and then there's this other turning point where it's like, okay, well, now I could take this, I could get super defensive. You didn't tell me you wanted 5 scoops. I wrote down all of your order. You just wanted 1 scoop, or I could just reflect and let his experience be valid. And I get to just hold that space for him and say, wow, you're feeling really upset and not considered because you when you're sick, you like a lot of hot sauce, and you would hope that your wife would know that. And you just didn't get the thing you wanted. Did I get that? He's like, he took a deep breath. He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And the thing is, and then I got a turn to talk later on after he was calm, after he was out of his trauma story, right? And I got a chance to say, hey, I felt really, really triggered too in that situation. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I felt like I did everything I could possibly do to be connected with you and to take care of you in this time when you were really needing help. And it was just that disconnect. And so for both of us, we could lean into the stories that we know are there for each other and not let them consume us and not let them totally take over our lives. Because any point in a relationship, there's 3 phases. There's harmony, disharmony, and repair. And Disney and Hallmark paint this beautiful picture of we should be in harmony all the time. But we're not. There is disharmony and there is repair. And we didn't learn about how to move through repair very well or very quickly or very efficiently. So we're stuck in this disharmony and this disrepair for a long time instead of moving straight into repair as quickly as possible so we can get back to harmony and enjoy it and be in connection and feel the ease and feel the peace and have the energy again that's going to all the things we actually want to be doing instead of being in disconnect.
So beautiful and so conscious. So it sounds like you're kind of slowing things down, where instead of reacting from that feeling, you're feeling that. And is this part of the somatic work that you do? You're feeling it and you're paying attention. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be a little bit gross here, but I think it's gonna be okay. I'm a mom, but I'll put it this way: I'm gonna be gross for a mom. So when it comes to emotions, I feel like most of us haven't learned how to be with our emotions, and we view them as the enemy, right? It's like growing up, what were we told? We fall down and we get hurt. What were we told? It was like, stop crying, you're okay. Or look at this shiny thing over here. We're either distracting ourselves or invalidating the experience instead of viewing emotions as messengers. There's a whole thing going on. We are feeling it in our body. We've got that somatic experience happening. It's just the messenger trying to come through and say, I've got some wisdom here for you. Pause, feel it, allow it to come through, and then we can take all that wisdom and know what to do next. And so if we don't pay attention to it, it just gets lost. And so what I see is that people take 2 main approaches to their emotional hygiene. Number one, there's just not a lot of great emotional hygiene. So there are two main approaches that I see. One, there's emotional constipation, where it's like, oh, I'm feeling something, I'm just going to hold it all in for as long as possible. And eventually we can't do that. It eventually explodes all over everyone around us, and it really stinks. And then the other path is emotional diarrhea, where it's just like, I'm just going to spew my emotions all over and all over everyone, and it stinks. We're going to put the emotional labor on anyone else around us instead of being with our emotions ourselves. So learning how to be with our emotions in real time and how to be with them on a regular basis instead of waiting until the crisis moment is such a huge piece of learning how to be in relationship. Because first we have to be in relationship with ourselves. Right? We come back to here and say, okay, what's going on for me and how can I own this experience? Really be aware, tap into those emotions, and then I can bring those golden nuggets to my partner or to my children, depending on their ages. But even from a young age, we've got a 6 and a 7-year-old right now. And with them, we're teaching them these skills that we wish we had learned earlier. And it's just doing that emotion coaching, which is really a beautiful, mostly 3-step process if you boil it down, from the Gottman Institute. And so the first step is just to witness what just happened. So for them, if they're running, they fall down, I'll say, oh, you were running really fast and you fell down. You scraped your knee. The second step is to name the emotions. And when they were younger than 5, we helped them name their emotions, but now they're older, we'll say, what were you feeling? And they might be say, oh, I was feeling scared and sad and I'm in pain. And then the third step is just to empathize. Like, oh yeah, when I'm running and I fall down, I also feel scared and sad and in pain. And sometimes I even feel really embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, did somebody see me? And I just want to bring into the fact that their whole experience that they're going through is valid and their emotions are valid. And guess what? By the time we finish that 3-step process, which usually takes about 30 seconds, they feel seen, they feel acknowledged, they feel heard, and they're off and running again. And I get to do the same thing for myself. So something happens in my partnership, and I'm like, instead of jumping straight into them, I come to me. And I get to do that for myself first and say, witness first. What just happened? Oh, my husband's energetic wall just went up. Something is happening. He's shutting down, and I'm starting to create stories about it. And then I'm going to empathize. I'm going to name my emotions. Oh, I'm feeling really not good enough. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling a little bit angry even, and definitely like defensive. And then I'm going to empathize with myself. We can empathize with ourselves. We've felt this way before. It doesn't have to be the exact same time my husband didn't get hot sauce in the way he wanted it, last week. No, that never happened before. But instead, I can empathize with that feeling of not good enough and defensive and scared. And, oh yeah, I've totally felt this way before in my life. And it makes sense to me that I'm here now. Okay. By the time I do that process, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm so much more present. I'm so much more calm. My body has so much more understanding of what it needs. And now I can go forward and create space. I hear him, or I can create space for making a request for what I need. And I have a way of requesting that doesn't feel like a demand. So there's so much more joy and ease that can come from the slowness of being with our bodies and with our emotions.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I know that for me, I definitely struggle with even naming the emotion. Where it's kind of like, well, I guess I can feel sensation in my body if somebody asks me.
Yeah,
But
which is already
sometimes
big too.
yeah, but sometimes, and that's taken me a long time. But then there's that next step, like, gosh, I don't even know what this emotion is. Oftentimes it comes out as happy, sad, right? It's like I struggle with those nuances. Do you have any tips to be able to kind of understand emotions better?
Yeah, I would just say there's a really good resource I'd recommend. It's called The Language of Emotions by McLaren, Carla McLaren, last name is McLaren. Great book. But I would just say start with being really gentle on yourself and be simple. Like not everyone is really tuned into their emotions and the nuances, right? Like some people see primary colors and some people are like, oh, it's this salmon hue, and I'm like, it's not how everyone experiences life. So be gentle with yourself instead of thinking I should be able to experience or know what my emotion is. Like it's a muscle and we're going to start training it. It's like when you start to hear the bass line of music, if you've never really paid attention to the bass line, it's like, oh, I'm going to pick it up. Oh, wow, there's so much nuance in there. Okay, cool. So for emotions, it's like, great, you have happy and sad. Perfect. Now flexing that more, if I'm paying attention to that every day, I'm spending just a little bit of time noticing how does it feel? Great. And then we can get into the primary emotions, which are usually named as mad, sad, glad, fear, shame, and love. And maybe grief on there, I'll say a 7. Mad, sad, glad, fear, shame, love, and grief. So can you get to one of those? Can you be like, oh yeah, this doesn't feel like grief. This does, okay, maybe it's closer to mad. Okay, right? And it's like starting to figure out like what is there. I'd say that's just a really good starting point. And once you start flexing those, then the next level would be, can you start controlling your emotions? And by controlling, I mean practicing them. We're going to start practicing lifting the weights of feeling what you want to feel. Because most people view emotions as they just happen to me. It's just like, boom, I'm going to get hit by something. I am reacting to life and I'm going to feel something that I probably don't want to feel. Or I'll just feel something like if I see a perfect sunset, I will feel happy, right? But our emotions are something we can practice. So in the morning, here's your invitation. In the morning, when you first wake up tomorrow, I want you to try before you get out of bed or start running through whatever other practices are, just try thinking about how do I want to feel today? And then try to bring those emotions in, try to feel it in your body. You've felt happy before. You've felt proud before. You've felt successful before. Like choose any emotion that you want and see if you can bring that emotion in and see if you can hold it for 30 seconds. If you get to 8 seconds your first time, you're totally successful. If you get to 2 seconds, you're totally successful. Just try it. But if you can withstand that time, and you can start practicing this muscle more and more and more so that you can feel happy for longer. You can feel at peace for longer. You can feel energized for longer instead of feeling like you're in like a sailboat in the wind being tossed around. No, you have so much more experience here.
That's so good. Yeah, like so many things, right? We have to practice them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So what's the next step? So people are struggling in their relationships and they want to, and there's a number of tools that you've talked about here. So I guess my question is, how do you work with people right now?
Yeah. So my passion is really to go deep with folks. I've run a couple of programs in the past, and right now I'm taking a break from the group programs. I just love doing one-on-one work. So I work primarily with couples and sometimes with single individuals, and I take them on a journey that I call Relearn Love. And this is really about letting people know it's not their fault that they don't know how to love and be in relationship in a healthy way. You know, that we were just given some crappy tools to begin with and saying, okay, well, let's just learn from the foundation. Like, how do we be with our emotions? How do we be with our partner in their emotions? How do we be with our trauma and these stories? And then what happens when there's conflict? What happens when we're triggered and there's something that doesn't feel good? Instead of going into our old patterns, which have gotten us where we are now, which is probably not the place we'd love to be, then what if we learn a whole new practice? And so for me, it's taking people on these journeys. And usually I work with couples for about 4 months at a time. And I always say, like, my hope is that you will not need me ever again. Like you will have the tools you need. And you know how to navigate any of these situations, because of so many of them are a different looking situation, but the same core issues, right? And so if we know how to deal with the core issues, we know how to listen, we know how to be with each other, then you can navigate anything. And then I have a lot of clients who just, you know, they want to keep going deeper. And I think I'm celebrating my 7th year anniversary with one set of clients this year and my 4th year with another. And it's just like, and they're becoming coaches now. And it's so exciting. So there's more, there's always more to go. But I love setting people off and after 3 or 4 months together and Relearn Love.
And where can people find you? What's your website?
Oh yeah, relearnlove.com.
And we'll drop that below. And are you on any social media channels?
All of them. Okay, not TikTok yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
We
But
need
my
some
children want to be on there.
we need some TikToks from you guys with Bali in the background so we can see those
That would be
awesome
amazing.
views. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Coach Eri Kardos, and then I'm also on Facebook, and I've got a private Facebook group that is open for anybody to join. And there's a ton of different resources in there, and links to wonderful podcasts and free resources. So I've got lots out there. Just contact me if you have questions or you want to go deeper and you can't find what you're looking for easily. Hopefully it's all very findable, but otherwise relearnlove.com, and I'm right there.
Awesome. And then you have a free gift for our audience. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I do. So one of the biggest questions I get over and over again is how do we handle conflict? And that's, there's certain things that happen for each individual that make things nuanced, but really it's the same patterns for most of us. So I created a 7-part video series on how to navigate conflict. It's a lot of it's taken from my best-selling book, which is chapter 5, all about navigating conflict. But this is like a step-by-step video, and you can do it one section at a time, like one piece by day and one piece every day if you want for a week, and be totally through it and have so many amazing tools in your pocket that you'll be ready to handle conflict in a whole new way that won't even have you stuck in that tension and that dis-ease for so long.
Awesome. That sounds super valuable. I encourage everybody to go check that out, get those tools. Eri, thank you so much for joining me here today. I so appreciate you coming on.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again.
I hope you learned something on today's podcast. If you did, please share it with your friends and family and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It's really helpful for getting this information out to more people who desperately need it. Sharing all the experts I know and love and the powerful tips I have is one of my absolute favorite things to do. Thanks for being part of my community. Just a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional care by a doctor or other qualified medical professional. It is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. Thanks for listening, and have an amazing day.